Prescott Valley Town Council meeting, April 27th, 2023. Call to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Leyva. Here. Councilmember Greer.
Here.
Councilmember Dickinson.
Here.
Councilmember Hepperly.
Here.
Councilmember Schumacher.
Present.
Vice Mayor Hunt, not here. Mayor Polguta.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thanks, ma'am. At this time, I would like to welcome down Pastor Cheetah Olson from One Church for our invocation and to lead us in the pledge.
If we could please bow our heads. Lord, I give you thanks for all who are present and who serve our community. We give you thanks also for this beautiful community that we live in this great nation that we call home. Lord, today we come to you in humility and anticipation of answered prayer. I ask for great wisdom for our leaders, that they would see clearly the needs of our community as they lead justly and righteously. Give them the confidence to do what is good and fitting, working together in unity even through disagreement. I pray specifically for today's agenda. May it please you and serve those in our community. In your holy name, amen. I pledge allegiance and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up is our proclamations. First one up is Arbor Day.
National Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. As this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than one in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperatures, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper for our homes, fuel for our fires. And whereas trees in our town increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore, I, Kel Polguta, Mayor of Prescott Valley, Arizona, do hereby proclaim April 28 as Arbor Day in the town of Prescott Valley, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. I further urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Thank you.
We're just excited to celebrate Arbor Day this year with Franklin Phonetic School tomorrow. They'll be planting trees with our park staff at Bob Edwards, so come check it out if you're interested, and it'll be a great day. Thanks for having us.
Next one up is Municipal Clerks Week proclamation.
Right, the town clerk is entrusting me to read this. So, whereas the office of professional municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens and the local governing bodies and agencies of government or other levels. And whereas the professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas It is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now, therefore, I, Kel Palguda, Mayor of the Town of Prescott Valley, do recognize the week of April 30th through May 6, 2023 as Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, Fatima Fernandez, and to all professional municipal clerks for their vital service they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent.
Good evening, everyone. Well, I just want to thank the mayor, this council, and our town manager for this recognition. And I want to extend the recognition and that proclamation to my staff for all the hard work that they do on a daily basis to provide services to our citizens. To Sarah Goodman, who's our records coordinator and couldn't be here, and our deputy town clerk, Caitlin Tarrant, again, for all of the support that they provide to my office. And just wanted to say, if you were paying attention, it was said that the role of the municipal clerk is the oldest of profession in public service. And if you, in public service, and if you ever want to find out why we get an entire week of recognition, I highly encourage you to attend the Citizens Academy, where I go over the role of the clerk, the municipal clerk, and what we do. So again, thank you for this recognition, and I am very humbled and honored to be the clerk for Town of Prescott Valley. Thank you.
Next up is our certificate, basically our service award, item 4. And this is for House of Hope 360. This is the mayor's recognition. And clerk's going to read a little something. Sir, come on up.
House of Hope 316. We celebrate your 16th year in ministry, the opening of your third home in Prescott. The town of Prescott Valley is proud to recognize and present to you this award for your exceptional dedication to the homeless elderly of Yavapai County. A branch of H10 Ministries in Phoenix, House of Hope 316 currently provides housing for 19 homeless seniors in 3 homes in Prescott Valley. In the House of Hope 316, seniors find faith, hope, and love along with the safety, care, and a family that they deserve. The House of Hope 316 ministry continues and expands due to the growing need of elderly men and women in their homes, and because our seniors should never be homeless, hungry, or afraid. I, Kel Palguda, Mayor of the Town of Prescott Valley, Arizona, on this 27th day of April, do hereby recognize House of Hope 316. We express our gratitude for your exemplary work and service that has made such a significant impact on seniors experiencing homelessness in Yavapai.
Thank you. It really is an honor and a privilege to be able to help the elderly that are low income, that would be homeless otherwise. And it's done with many people helping us do that. And a thank you to everyone here. We're all in this together to make the community better for everybody that lives here. So thank you very much.
Next up, item 5, call to the public. This time, members of the public may comment on matters listed on the agenda or solely on matters within the jurisdiction of the town. Any persons wishing to address the council must register their name with the town clerk prior to the commencement of the meeting. The council's response is limited to responding to criticism, asking staff to review a matter commented upon, or asking that a matter be put on a future agenda. Such remarks shall be limited to 3 minutes unless additional time is granted by the mayor. Clerk?
This time, I would like to call Kristen Putterman,
Welcome, ma'am.
All right, I'd like
You can stay right at that one. Yeah, perfect.
also say thank you to everybody for letting me talk tonight. Okay, so this is going to be pretty simple. I would basically is it okay if my husband comes up and talks too? He's on the list too to talk. Because his is going to be kill two birds with one stone.
So
Okay.
we are here to address code 6230D, the swine and corporate town limits.
Yes.
My wife has epilepsy. About 5 years ago, she started having seizures, and we found an animal that helped calm her. So we got our pig, Chloe. She's a domesticated miniature pig, and she's as big as a basset hound. And we didn't know you weren't supposed to have them. So we've had her for 5 years now, going on 6, and she has a sister, and everything's been fine. She's cleaner than a dog, quieter than a dog. Everybody's neighbors, kids, neighbors, everybody plays with them. We walks them, feeds them. And we found out last week that we weren't allowed to have her. And so we've been trying desperately to find her a home, but also we wanted to see if there was a way we could change that code. I mean, chickens are going to be allowed here, rabbits are going to be allowed here, and
So,
I don't understand why a domesticated pig, it's not a livestock animal. She's not food. She is our family. She's our pet. She's, she's an inside, she's housebroken.
yeah,
And we
she's
can't
cleaner.
have her anymore.
She's as clean as a dog. We've
Yeah.
had dogs before, and
Yep, we had dogs,
She's-
animal control came out, the Prescott Valley Police Department came out. They all saw these are extremely well taken care of animals and quiet and sweet and loving. And we just want to be able to keep our family, our pets, our kids, grew up with them so far. So I'm asking for help to see what we do or how we go
or
about it.
where we
'Cause,
start.
yeah, where we start, because we can't get answers. And we're scared
So
of
at least
losing our
where to
pets,
start,
our family.
Yeah.
So.
And I know it's a big question, or something big to ask, because
Yeah.
the chickens took a long time.
Yeah, and
So we know
we're
that.
working on obeying by what we're asked. I mean,
Yeah,
we
of
were asked
course.
the 30 days to find them a new home, and we're working on it. We found them a great home out in Dewey, and the lady just needed 30 days to prepare her property for them.
But we
But-
still, people, we're still,
We know people that have them also. It's a community, and we're like heartbroken. So
You
we're just
know.
asking, where do we start? How do we do this? What do we do?
yeah. So
Because
maybe
it's-
if you guys could recommend somebody that could
Help us?
help, or where you guys would, recommend anything.
Right,
Because
so
we-
first question is, what's the name of your pig?
Chloe
And-
is the original one we got, and then
Got her
they have to be in
friend
pairs. So she
named
has a sister
Elsa.
named Elsa.
Yeah.
Chloe and Elsa.
Yes.
We can just have staff reach out and address and just maybe discuss some options on what we can do with Chloe and Elsa. That would be great.
Thank you guys. They're really cute.
I mean,
You-
we've had them for 5 years, and like I said, all of our neighbors have been great with them. They don't cause a problem. They don't smell. They're clean. They're
Yeah,
loving.
they're very cute.
I-
Everyone in this room would think they were the cutest things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so loving.
Yeah.
I'm kind
They're
of
cute.
disappointed that Chloe didn't make an appearance here
We,
tonight. So.
if we
Yeah.
were sure that we wouldn't get in trouble for still having her, she would be right here next to us.
Yeah, she's a
I mean,
cutie.
we do a lot of work with the VFW, and everybody at the VFW provides
Oh
food.
yeah,
and-
they
and
send
support
home
for 'em.
salad with us, and we have pictures of them up on you've been to the VFW before, Mayor,
Yeah.
and they have video or TVs up on the wall, and Chloe and Elsa are up on the TV.
Yeah.
So
Thanks, guys, for coming out. We'll see.
thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
Clerk?
Douglas Rowe,
Welcome, sir.
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Doug Rowe, and I live at 4125 North Kearney Drive, your old neighbor. I'm speaking on behalf of several citizens of Prescott Valley that are opposed to the rezoning of the area at the end of University Drive. I would like to ask those in the audience that are here with me to please stand and be recognized real quick. So there's a few of us here today. It is our understanding that Richard J. Whitney of Platinum Realty Services has been working specifically with Fernando Gonzalez of Prescott Valley Planning and Zoning to have the property of the old North Central University rezoned for a senior living community. According to the individual I believe to be Richard J. Whitney, the project is already under escrow. I do have a video of that statement being made by him. Upon request, I can share that with you. We the people have the following concerns. Child safety. This proposal does not allow for another access road to be built. Therefore, all additional traffic from the proposed facility will be sent down Superstition. The safety of our children will always remain our number one concern. Superstition is one of only 2 corridors entering our neighborhood. Superstition is the location of bus stops for our Humboldt School District. Several school buses pass down that road to pick up our precious children. The proposal identifies at least 226 parking spots. That does not account for delivery vehicles and maintenance vehicles that will need to go to the proposed facility. Do we really want that many additional vehicles passing our children, increasing the chances of one of them being struck down as they wait for the bus? How about the additional risk after they get on the bus? Our bus drivers do everything in their power to provide maximum safety for our children. Superstition is a very narrow road. If this proposed facility is approved, we have essentially told our bus drivers to just deal with the problem. Water. The proposed facility will consist of the existing building, 4 additional large buildings that will contain 256 one-bedroom units, 31 additional single-family homes, 2 heated pools, and a recirculating pond. At the state level, our senators are currently fighting hard to ensure Arizona has enough water. Yet look at what we are doing here in Prescott Valley. Just down the road from our neighborhood is a very large apartment complex under construction. We do not have an infinite supply of water. At what point will we put the needs of our children ahead of our wants? All done?
Oh, you can finish it up. I saw what you have left.
Okay, thank you. The cost to the taxpayer. As I mentioned before, the proposed facility will greatly increase the number of vehicles traveling down Superstition. That will, of course, increase the level of maintenance needed to maintain safe roads for our school buses, as well as all vehicles. It will not be the responsibility of Richard J. Whitney, president of Platinum Realty, to pay for the maintenance of Superstition. It will, of course, be the responsibility of the town of Prescott Valley. Ultimately, I, along with all the residents of Prescott Valley, will be paying to repair the road that Richard J. Whitney will destroy with his construction vehicles and eventually additional routine traffic. We the people do not support the proposed rezoning of the property that contains the old North Central University, and we the people hope our elected officials hear and understand our concerns. We the people are asking for our elected officials to deny the rezoning and stop any additional building that endangers our children, unnecessarily decreases our water table, and increases the cost of the taxpayer. I do thank you for your time. If you have any additional questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Sure.
Thank you.
Patricia Betzel?
Welcome, ma'am.
My name's Patricia Betzel. I live at 3883 North Fairfax Road in Granville. And I'm here to talk about a recent meet and greet meeting with a developer, the American Resort Communities, where the residents are going to be affected by the development of 323 acres of Highway 69, close to the Prescott Country Club. The residents that did receive an invitation stated that the developer is applying for rezoning the 323 acres for a higher density, and that this would be a leased community with prefabricated homes and a section for RVs. Also, that these would be priced at a, quote, first-time home buyers level. The details on the timeline, however, the developer said they weren't really available. And right now, social media is flooded with citizens stating that they were not notified of the meeting, which is a common issue that we see in the area. We know that law requires this notification of residents or owners of the properties based on distance, but in reality, everyone in this valley is affected by every drop of water consumed, every extra car on the road, as well as every impact on our shared infrastructure. We ask merely that the council do more in getting the word out so our voices can be heard and taken into consideration. You and you alone are charged with the protection and acting on the behalf of the citizens that elected you, not the developers. We all know what the developers are interested in. It's for them, it's a business. But this is our home, and many, many of us have come here to live out the rest of our lives. So we ask that the council do more in sharing information coming from the developers that are trying to justify densification. We also ask that the council do more in justifying developments that claim or want to appear to providing low-income housing prior to reviewing rezoning requests, and give the citizens an opportunity to be involved, to understand, and to comment. We know that the mayor and the city manager are strong supporters of water conservation and of preserving our quality of life. We appreciate that. We believe this is another opportunity for the council, the mayor, the city manager to do the right thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Cinnamon Bandy?
Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Cinnamon Bandy, and I'm speaking on behalf of the University Project. He pretty much said everything. I just would like to request a second request to make sure that we get a town hall meeting, because the one Tuesday was not a legitimate meeting, and we would like to be heard. And I would also like, I didn't catch her name, but I think it's very fair to say that we need a town hall meeting for that community as well, for people to speak up in a place that has PA systems and seating for everyone, that when there's something to be concerned about our community, we as retired residents here, we want to live here in happiness, and when we get all of this growth going on, it really concerns us. So we need a meeting place that we can speak, please.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for your time.
Mark Wolf?
Welcome, sir.
Good morning. Thank you. Good afternoon, or evening, sorry. My name's Mark Wolf, and I live in the Superstition Hills neighborhood, just like some of the others here. And what really stirred everything up was the developer decided to have a town hall or a little meeting there. He called it neighborhood meeting. He had insufficient room, not enough chairs for folks to sit in. He had no public address system, not a loud voice. So, you know, that's why everything got all messed up. And it was just like, besides the fact that half the people didn't know it. Now, I was told that the town of Prescott Valley sent 30 invitations, or at least that's what that guy said. And so he had 30 chairs. Well, there was probably 100 folks showed up there. So obviously there's a lot of concern. And I wanted to address a couple things myself. I think most of it has already gone over. Traffic on Superstition is a major issue. Speeding is a major issue on Superstition. It's a straight shot. All right, construction trucks, for some reason, can't seem to drive the speed limit. So we have that problem along with the buses. You know, they go to work early. The kids go to work pretty early. The buses show up at 6 o'clock, 6:30 at our house, I think. And so, you know, we have concerns about all that stuff. And then building all those houses out there, I fully support the fact that that building, something needs to be done. It's already been a victim of major damage from vandalism, so something needs to be done there. But I believe it needs to stay a commercial or industrial, whatever you want to call it, rather than residential, because I think, you know, it could be turned into something good. But when you start building all this other stuff and et cetera with one entrance and outlet, that's just not good for the rest of the neighborhood. And it won't be good for those folks in there either, especially fire and safety. They have to access the same way as everyone else. So I think we have a big problem there. Anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to go over. So I worked in civil engineering stuff for the last 12 years of my working life, and Superstition, the road base is totally inadequate. They're constantly out there patching it, just putting Band-Aids on it is what they're doing. We get all that traffic, it's going to be much, much worse. Okay? Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, sir, for coming out. Clerk?
Don't have anyone else registered, Mayor.
And I know we have a lot of new faces out there, so you might not be familiar with the process on how speakers speak. So if you didn't register, I don't want you to feel like you missed out on your opportunity. So is there anyone here that was planning on speaking but just failed to register? Awesome. Again, thanks for everyone that came out to speak tonight. Moving on. Item 6, council communications. We'll start on the end. Councilwoman?
I had the opportunity this weekend to participate in the fire program of our fire department,
Councilwoman, is your mic on?
which was great fun. The fire ops was great fun. The equipment is really heavy, and I remarked to the firefighters that I only had to wear it for a few hours, and they wear it for hours and hours. It was a wonderful opportunity, great fun smashing car windows with sledgehammers and cutting roofs off cars. Wonderful opportunity if anyone gets a chance to do it. I wanted to thank our town staff for all the hard work they're putting in to plan our 4th of July event. It's going to be spectacular. And I also wanted to congratulate Bradshaw Mountain baseball team for winning their regional title for the 2nd year.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilwoman?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. We've had quite a few things going on this month and over the last 2 weeks, especially since we met last. We had on Saturday, the 15th, we had Prevent Child Abuse Arizona Prescott Valley Pinwheel Party at the Civic Center. And if you did not make it out to that event, it was my first time to attend it, and they had a beautiful blue pinwheel garden over here on the greens in the Civic Center area, and it was just beautiful. And of course, the purpose for it, there were a number of vendors, 25 to 30 vendors there, and it was a very productive afternoon. And on the very same day, over on the other side of the building here, we had, because of the ordinance that we passed for the chickens and bunnies, we had a learning session, and it was more like a festival, both inside and outside of the library. Lori Hunt made a presentation, our vice mayor made a presentation here on instructional information on raising chickens and bunnies and the ordinance itself. And then out in the area in front of the library, we had chickens. People brought their pets, their bunnies and their chickens. And Cal Ranch also had a table where they were handing out information and sharing on how to get started with raising chickens. And it was a very informative day all the way around. Future Farmers of America also had a booth, and they were displaying a number of different types of eggs that I had no idea there were so many different types of eggs that you could choose from as far as what kind of chickens. And they also had one rooster. So it was a fun day. And we want to thank everybody who participated in that and came out and supported the ordinance and supported the town. And we also had, this last week, the town of Prescott Valley had a very successful community-wide volunteer fair at the Prescott Valley Police Department training room. And again, we had maybe 20 to 25 nonprofit organizations show up with literature and handouts. And there were so many opportunities to volunteer. And there's just no reason that anyone should be bored in this town. And one other item I want to mention, and both Councilmember Greer and I toured the Arizona Agribusiness and Equine Center College Preparatory High School last Friday across from the Civic Center. It is a beautiful campus. We were allowed to pet their new 3-week-old baby fowl and feed the horses cubes of sugar and handle their baby chicks. It was a delight to see and meet so many of the students. They were outgoing and friendly, and we had photographs with many of them. And we want to thank the assistant principal, Mark Rhinesmith, for being our host that day. And it was just a very, very lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
I just wanted to give a reminder to everybody that next Saturday, May 6th, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., we have a PV Spring Cleanup. It's Team Up to Cleanup. It's sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce, I believe, and they're going to be having a lunch during the day if you are out there to help clean up the town. So they will assign people different areas if they want to help pick up garbage. But I also think the most important part of this is that we have the dump open for free for you to clean out your backyard or your neighbors if you can help out. And they accept things like yard clippings, furniture, old residential, other residential items, old appliances, plastics, aluminum, newspapers, tires. There's a limit to 10, and even auto batteries. They don't accept free liquids like oil, paint, etc., medical waste, explosives. Why? Ammunition, propane tanks, or hazardous items. But sometimes you end up with something odd in your backyard. We ended up having a hammock frame, and it sat at the side of our yard for a long time, and I kept thinking, what are we going to do with this? And then we thought, well, we'll take it to that Team Up to Cleanup. And as we put it in the truck, other things started, of course, accumulating from the garage, kept going in too. So it's a nice time just to clean out your garage, clean out your backyard, help somebody else who has items they can't maybe dispose of to get to the dump, and it's all free that day. So if you go down I'm trying to think what that road is called. Valley Road, clear to the end, over by the sewer center, I guess you call it. The wastewater management, yes, thank you. And so it's down there, and you just wait in line, you drive in, you can unload, and it's free. So it's very nice to clean house. Thank you.
Councilwoman.
Vice Mayor Hunt is not here this evening, but she still has a few things to say. Bert was supposed to mention House of Hope's free banquet that's coming up next month, May 8th from 6 to 7:45 at the Adult Center on Rosser. Vice Mayor Hunt is one of the guest speakers there. So if you're interested in that, I think the easiest way would probably be to send an email to houseofhope316az@gmail.com. And Prescott Valley Praise is May 4th. And it's a free event, but we do ask if you are planning on coming to pre-register, just so they can have a head count, make sure there's enough donuts and coffee for everyone. So PrescottValleyPraise.com is where you'll want to go. And that website works a lot better on a desktop than a cell phone. So, and then that made, I was like, now I forgot about my own thing that I was going to say. This Saturday is YMCA Healthy Kids Day. This is something they celebrate all across the nation, but the YMCA in Prescott is holding an event from noon to 4. I will be a vendor there on the grass, right in front of the main entrance. But it looks like there's going to be fun activities for kids going on all over the campus. So come check it out, 12 to 4.
Councilwoman.
Good afternoon. I am happy to inform that I've been collaborating with the police department and the crime prevention officers to put together a town hall this May 9th from 6 to 7:30 at Saint Germain Catholic Church. And this town hall is going to be in both Spanish and English to keep the community informed about how to report crime, how to license their pets, and other very, very valuable information. As well as I've been collaborating with the Presque Valley Chamber of Commerce on putting together a new Hispanic chamber. So this is going to be a great platform to kind of merge the communities and keep everyone informed of activities and stuff. And so our first Fiesta Mixer is going to be June 1st, and we're super excited about that.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on, managers report, Mr. Davidson.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, a few things. I want to recognize our new Public Works Director. Very excited to have Heather Reuter on board. And she is into week 2 and is identifying lots of things that we're going to be making good improvements for our community. Speaking of which, we brought an item to council a couple weeks ago, creating what's called the Glass-Riddell Steering Committee. Each council member has identified someone to be on that committee, and thank you for your nominations on that, or recommendations for that. But we also had an open call to the public for at-large members. We've had an overwhelming number of people that have submitted their name and some, incredible backgrounds. So we'll be coming back to council to expand that working group. Obviously, we don't want to have too large of a group because it'll be very difficult to convene and have meaningful conversation. But we definitely don't want to miss out on some of the talent of individuals that had submitted for that. And then next Thursday will be our budget study session at 3:30 here in this room, and we'll be presenting the fiscal year 24 budget and all of the recommendations for each department. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 8, consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by town council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Council, we've had a chance to review. If there's no item to be removed, I'll entertain a motion. Councilman?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve all items listed under the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 9, zoning ordinance amendment, livestock definition, ZOA 23-001. Second reading.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This is the second reading, as you mentioned, on the zoning ordinance amendment to change the definitions for chickens and bunnies in our community. Staff has no further comments. We'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Council, have anything for Mr. Ruby? Not clerk.
Number 2023-920. An ordinance of the mayor and common council of the town of Presque Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, amending Article 13-2 definition in Chapter 13 zoning of the town code to conform to recent town code amendments, allowing chickens and domestic rabbits on residential lots within the town. Providing that all other chapters, articles, and sections of the town code not herein repealed or amended shall remain in full force and effect. Providing that if any provision in this ordinance is held invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, the remaining provisions shall not be affected, but shall continue in full force and effect. And providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, ma'am. Shall this ordinance pass?
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, item 10, quarterly budget summary, March 31st, 2023. Ms. Pale.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. So I have good news for you tonight with our quarterly budget summary. We have actually done really well with our revenues this year. We have met our projections so far this year, and in fact, with sales tax, we are about 9% over the prior year's collections, which is great. We're still seeing our sales tax increase, which is what helps fund the majority of our town departments. So with that, we are on track to collect the sales tax as well as licenses and permits. We have had significant commercial activity this year that has helped collect all of those fees that we had thought we would have for this year. And we have nothing left to collect from that, but we'll continue to collect over the next 3 months. So it'll be a record-breaking year as far as the licenses and permits go. And then we have seen our residential permits drop, so that is mostly commercial activity that has funded that. Additionally, our intergovernmental revenues, so the revenues we get from the state, are on track. It's a little bit of a discrepancy there where it's 28% to budget, but that's normal. We usually have a little bit of lag from those collections. And then our water and wastewater are a little under, but just slightly. We expect that to rectify throughout the rest of this year, and that's primarily due to the amount of rain and snow that we've gotten. Expenditure-wise, we are on track with almost 30% of our budget remaining in personnel for only a quarter of the year left, so we're doing well there. As well as operating costs, that includes our one-time operating, where there's some significant expenditures that haven't been made yet this year, such as the YMCA contribution and some large-scale things that will be carried into the next year that we'll go over next week. And then our capital outlay, there's still 80% of the budget remaining. There's been different delays with certain projects and challenges getting contractors for them, such as the library building. And we are excited that Glassford's mill and fill will be happening soon, but that will carry into next year, which is why so little of that has been utilized to date. And then our debt service has been completely paid this year. We pay our debt service payments in July and in January, so that is completed as well. And with that, I will open it for any questions.
Council, I know this was a high altitude overview by Ms. Bale. Is there any questions or comments? Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Next up, Newtown HR policies. Ma'am, welcome.
Mayor and members of the Town Council, thank you very much for your time this evening to be able to bring you an update and offer opportunity for any questions and answers on our policy project. As you might recall, we began the policy effort in October. So last fall was the launch for this. We've looked at approximately 150 pages of town human resources related policies in the last several months. I would be remiss not to offer and acknowledge everyone's work in doing this. Our legal department inside town, the town, as well as all of our department heads, individual employees, deputy directors, et cetera. This is a group effort to take this journey. And as you might imagine, reviewing and updating is not an easy process. If we can take a look at the first slide there, we've reminded both ourselves and you in this recapture of the information. This is really about defining and reinforcing and acknowledging the values and goals that we have as a town organization, and that every single thing we do impacts every citizen. So policies create the rules of engagement for how we live in the organization together and how we commit to excellence in everything that we do. So we've captured that for you in those brief statements. As we look at the next slide, we've tried to give you the historical overview of where we were, and a lot of our policies actually dated to 2002, 2006, 2010, coming forward, and again, in some of the areas to the more recent information. Our design now is fully incorporating partnerships, looking at what it means to have daily relationships in every area. Not surprisingly, that's compliance issues against federal, state standards, et cetera, town code as we're moving forward, but also allowing for involvement and collaboration in areas like benefits administration, talent acquisition, every area that influences our ability to attract talent, but also retain our talent. We'd love to attract every candidate with the idea they will be here for a lifetime. And so that's our approach in looking at how we design the content. When we look at the next slide, we've given you just a brief overview of the major areas. And I know you've had a chance to actually get that large document. I'll call to your attention one section, and that's section 5 as listed there, work rules and discipline. What we hope is we never have to go to the discipline side of the conversation, that there is never disagreement or any angst with employees, supervisors, et cetera. One of the things that has existed in our policy narrative and historically in public service is the idea of the use of hearing officers as well as potentially a personnel board. And normally that board is a combined membership that can be citizens that serve, it can also be internal employees at a variety of levels, exempt, non-exempt. What we discovered in the research work that we did for this project is that our personnel board, while in place and actually on the consent agenda tonight, our personnel board has not been called into activity. The last time they actually were seated was 2020. Prior to that, we had a circumstance in fiscal year 2011-2012. And notwithstanding those circumstances, we have not had to call upon that board. So one of the areas for your consideration before we come back to you on a consent agenda is to simply have us move to the use of interest-based problem solving. And so when you look at that section in the manual and you look at the new language, this is really around the informal resolution of conflict or disagreement. I'm involved in my role as Human Resources Director. Our town manager, Mr. Davidson, of course, is involved. But we do think at this point, we can leave the section where hearing officers would be employed if needed, and then we can keep the informal section later in section 5, where it is the involvement of myself or the person serving in my role and the town manager for the informal level of resolution. So I'd ask you to consider that. What we think is the involvement of citizen members is crucial in the health and well-being of the community. We think that because it's so infrequently used, what might be better for those members who are interested is this will free up their time, and there may be other boards, commissions, activities, community volunteerism, as we've discussed this evening, where they could be committed in working in a more routine or regular fashion on behalf of the community. So that's one area that I would bring to your attention this evening. And then if we can take a look at the recap, we've done this for you just as a reminder as you are looking at all of this and the work that we do together. Policies impact everything. So we've given you the short list tonight on that particular slide. Everything from the moment someone becomes a member of our workforce, all the way through, again, conflict resolution, individual team coaching. We're moving to very, very affirmative education and training opportunities, using a learning management system for online, hybrid, on-ground work, all kinds of things. And then, of course, growing through succession planning, the leaders for tomorrow. And so our policies shape every dimension of what we're doing. Now, having said that, let me open it for any questions that you may have, anything that I can help you with this evening.
Council? You're on a roll, ma'am. Oh, Councilwoman, you have something?
I do have a comment to make. I know that we as a town have a problem with employees with attrition rate.
Yeah.
And we're not unique. A lot of the companies here in our town have a problem keeping high-quality employees within their companies. We have a problem with single, people especially, not finding affordable housing.
Right.
So when I know that we have complaints of people not wanting to have more rentals or more apartment buildings, we have to have something where we can have the people who work for you, when you go to the doctor and you have an assistant or you have a receptionist, that person needs a home as well. So I just want people to keep that in mind, that affordable housing is so important in this area for us to have the quality workers that we need, not only support the town, but every business that works with it. So it was just a comment I wanted to make. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Council, anything else? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next up, item 10C, Mr. Prentice, update on the unmanned aircraft system policy.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Council. Just wanted to bring to your attention, as you're aware, the town has an unmanned aircraft system program, or better known as UAS, and under Town Policy 1-11. That current policy states that a remote pilot cannot operate at night or under or over people or moving vehicles. The FAA changed that back in 2021. Those requirements under certain conditions, and if you look at the slide, those conditions basically are, if we were to fly at night, we would have the remote pilot would have the proper knowledge and training, and the drone aircraft must have anti-collision lighting visible for 3 statute miles. And then one of the new things they're also requiring is that the drone itself have remote ID capability. So those kind of things that helps identify the height of the drone and the location it came from and those type of things. We have 2 drones in the program. One does have remote ID and the other one we will have to get remote ID dongle for that. As far as operations over people and vehicles, the drones we have with the town are more than 55.55 pounds. They're just over about 2 to 3 pounds. So we would have to meet the category 2 through 4 requirement. And so that basically says either we must have an airworthy certificate or we operate within a closed or restricted access area, such as a parade or something like that. And then all the people on the ground are at least aware that there's a drone above. And also that if we are maintaining flight over any assembly of people, that those people are aware and are under proper shelter. And that sustained flight means if we're hovering above, just constantly hovering, then they want to make sure we maintain the proper safety protocols. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Prentice? Comments?
I have a question. Oh, the slide is gone. Okay, all right. How are you going to notify people that you're going to have a drone active in the area? Is that going to be done?
That's probably a good question. We probably need to do something through the media as before the event or something of that nature that at least tells people we're going to have, capability to not only filming on the ground, but filming above, that type of thing. So probably on the marketing side or of our events, probably need to do it to that nature. That's probably to be decided a little bit as far as how that's properly communicated. So, yeah.
Mr. Mayor, council members, one great way when you have events, there's drone activity is you can A-frames and as part of the check-in when, attendees are coming in, that clearly states that there's drone activity and we're using it for non-commercial purposes, video, photography types of stuff. So you can have notice boards when people are entering into an event area.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the notice to people that there's a drone above only applies if there's not an airworthy certificate obtained. Is that correct?
Correct.
So is there going to be an attempt to just get the certificate so you don't?
The FAA is actually still working on putting those requirements out because right now it's more or less for like if Amazon were to have drones for carrying packages across homes, they would have to have a special airworthy certificate for that. For the small UAS drones like ours, they're still trying to define what those categories are, requirements. So if they do, I'll probably pursue that. Yeah.
Anything else from Mr. Prentice? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign resolution number 2023-2312, amending Town Policy 1-11, quote, unmanned aircraft system, UAS program, unquote, to correspond with amended federal regulations by electronic vote.
I second it.
Call the vote.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Last item of the evening, 10D, secondary access agreement for Copperfield. Mr. Ruby, welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This item is a secondary access agreement with the developer of Copperfield. It is within the unincorporated county area, and they've approached the town about establishing a secondary access to the area. The access would permit fire apparatus, CAFMA, to be able to access the area, ingress and egress there. The town holds certain property interests, easements, and licenses in the area, and the road would be, access would be located on these easements. Staff has prepared an agreement with the developer who would construct and maintain the road at their own expense. And it's a requested secondary access for a 25-year term. Staff recommends approval of the agreement as there are benefits to the town. As you can see on your screen, the red line is the area in question. The town has several well sites in the area that could be accessible for our staff, and we are recommending approval at this time. Be glad to answer any questions if you have them.
Council, we have anything for Mr. Ruby? Councilwoman?
What prompted this secondary access?
It was a request from the developer, Eco Development, to have a secondary access for emergency availability.
Do you know if it was his plan all along to have it?
That I do not know, ma'am.
So, okay, so you don't know that you don't have a scenario around it, or I'm just curious because that primary access has been used for a couple years now to the chagrin of the people that live in Viewpoint. And now that all the dirt work is done, now all of a sudden there's a secondary access. It might have come in handy in the past.
Correct. I agree with you.
Okay, thanks.
You bet.
Anything else for Mr. Ruby? Take a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve an agreement with Arizona Eco Development, developer of Copperfield, for a secondary access on town property in return for construction and maintenance of necessary improvements during the term by electronic vote.
I second.
Clerk, please call the vote.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate everyone coming out, and I commend Unit 20 for actually sticking it through the whole meeting. Usually we see people leave right after the comments, so thanks for sticking around. Have a great night.